Okay, so you've gotten your drawings. You've either called me and I measured them, or you brought them in for me to make the plan from. And then I've given you back your drawings and said, here you go, here's what it's gonna look like. That's what your kitchen's gonna look like. So you know what your kitchen's gonna look like. You picked out a color, picked out a wood, you're ready to go to the next step. What is that next step going to be? So let's take a walk around the showroom here and see what we can find. Something like this you might consider to be a organizer for putting the utensils, different items like that in. Here's a nice one everybody wants. Pull-out garbage can. That's definitely a winner in almost every kitchen we do here at Schiffer's Custom Cabinetry. Utensil or silverware divider. These are also with soft close drawers, which make the drawer closing a little nicer, and also the soft close hinges. A little cheaper line. Now this one, if you look at it, you can't really notice until you really step back and look at it in very good detail, but it's actually a frameless kitchen, which doesn't have the face frame of the kitchen, which actually makes the kitchen a little cheaper as well. Some people use these for apartments, or just if they have a cheaper budget, lower budget, they can use these, and you get the same look without the price. Some of the things that this kitchen doesn't have though, you don't get the soft close. Don't get the soft close drawers. But some items like this, which is still a nice feature, is you get the rollouts. Nice in pretty much every kitchen we do for base cabinets as well. And then having one of these, we do these in almost every kitchen here at Schiffer's as well, is the spice pull-out. Lazy Susan's here. I can show you a round Lazy Susan. That was a polymer shelf, 2-shelf Lazy Susan. Pretty much, I like to do those in my designs for corner cabinets. It's the best way of making a corner transition, and it's the best use of space. Here we have a 90-degree Lazy Susan. A little bit different situation here. You have the door that is accordion style. A little more expense with that kind of hinge than what you'd have with a 45-degree Lazy Susan, but it does give you the 90-degree, and then this also has the spinning 2 polymer 32-inch Lazy Susans. Some call that a Super Susan. But the nice thing about the 90-degree is it gets you the ability to get in tighter and closer into the corner that a 45 does not allow you to do. Now this kitchen display here is going to show you the difference between an MDF door, which these, I can show you later, are run on our CNC. So these doors are actually made out of a 3/4 inch thick sheet MDF. Our router cuts them, and you can't really tell the difference between an MDF door and a raised panel door. They look pretty much the same, especially when being glazed. And these also have the soft close feature. Now, one thing to point out here while we're here is laminates. So these 2 kitchens have laminate countertops. One brand, Lifestyles. We have another brand here on the display here showing Wilson Art. And then also other counter options you can find are LG Hymax. We have LG Hymax, we have Wilson Art acrylic, and the acrylics are becoming more popular with customers, and we do quite a few acrylic counters here. We make them in-house. And the ability now to do undermount sinks has become more and more popular as well. Now this island here, we did to demonstrate the use of knotty wood. So it gives more character. These are not actually cracks, but these are actually made here in the shop to look like cracked and roughed edges. And this as well has the soft close features. We also here do vanities. So if you're looking for a vanity, we can also do those as well. And recently we've noticed a big trend moving towards the green being the new gray. So we did a display here in the shop with the green instead of the gray on this display here, because it is becoming more and more popular. Now this kitchen display here shows the Craftsman inset. So the difference between an inset and an overlay, if you look very closely, the doors actually are inset into the frames, where on an overlay door, it's going to sit on front of the frame, and it's going to actually overlay the frame by usually a 1/2 inch, but a lot of times we do them 1/2 inch, but sometimes we also do them in 1 1/4 inch overlay, which gives you more of the Euro style look where you don't see much of the frame. It looks like the European style. Also becoming more and more popular is the farm sink. This is a Koran quartz farm sink, single bowl, in a, I believe, concrete color. And it is a very popular item as well. We just put one in the kitchen we just did yesterday. We also have the ability here to make barn doors. These barn doors we had put in, were made and put them in right after we moved here, and they are actually a barn door with a track like a real barn door. And I kind of wanted to make them that way so that you could really get the look of the barn door. And we've sold quite a few off of just having those here in our showroom. So let's take a walk. After looking at the features here that you're able to put into a kitchen, that kind of is a brief overview. There's a lot more that can go in, but we don't have all the space here in our showroom to show all the features. Let's next go into the shop and do some digging deeper into the making of cabinets and what goes into it and how it is processed. You're probably thinking to yourself, that seems like a lot that goes into that. And there pretty much is a lot that goes into it. But once you make the call to get the ball rolling or stop in with the plan, we pretty much take over from that point on helping you make decisions between my wife and I. She's more of the designer. I am more of the guy that does the plans and the measuring and gets the jobs going into the shop. So if you really are confused, you don't know where to start, just give a call and we can help you take care of it from there. So walking into the shop here, the first thing you're going to come to is the spray area, finishing and sanding. The sanding table we have here is a Grizzly. Downdraft looks really great. My wife and sister both work in this area here doing our finishing. We have a spray booth here that runs 36-inch fan blowing out through the back wall. So we have a air return, bringing air back in for the spray to go out. We built these racks to put our doors and shelves and such on. Here's some finished product we just sprayed just today. These are the doors going on the kitchen that you'll be seeing going in tomorrow. And the finished shelves. So here is the kitchen going in tomorrow. We have the outfitting area, which is where we put everything to put the hardware, hinges, drawer slides, rollouts, anything that goes into the kitchen gets staged here, ready to go in the cabinets. Kind of tight right now with the kitchen in here. We got some big cabinets that are going to be going in tomorrow. This is the one kitchen we have going in tomorrow. Goes with the island that we put in a couple days ago. I'll get to show you that too. It is a white brown glaze on maple. And then turning around here is our 42-inch sander, wide belt sander. It has two heads. We run an 80 grit and a 150 grit. and it does a great job. We've only had it a couple years, but it's really good sander. And this is our planer. If you know about woodworking tools, these are kind of basic things, but just to give you a little insight, if you don't know, this is a Grizzly. It is an 18-inch wide planer, 3-phase, with a helical head with 1-inch inserts, chip inserts. Then right beside it we have 3 shapers and an edge sander. The shapers we use to make our doors. So we got a coping end, rail making, and then panel making all right there. So that's pretty much where we make our doors. And this is an edge sander that we use to sand our parts and doors. Turning behind, our doors go together here on this JLT clamp. It's a great clamp. I'm glad I bought it early in the business because it's coming real handy. We make doors on this side and then panels on the opposing side. So we put the parts in here and then assemble them, turn them around, stick them in this clamp. It's hydraulic. You hit a button, it clamps it all tight, squares it up, shoot pins in it, and it's ready to go. On the back side of that, we have all of our clamps, and the other side of the JLT clamp is for putting panels, gluing panels up. It seems the going trend right now is to do a mission door, so we haven't been doing as many glued up panels as we used to. This is a workbench table we do all of our cabinet assembly on. All the basic hand tools behind it to build the cabinets and the frames with miter saw and fence. Basic stuff there. We have a second miter saw and fence on this wall. And then our dovetail machine, which is right here. It's a Grizzly, it works really good. I bought it 6 years ago and it's a great machine. And then we have a Grizzly bandsaw on wheels, so we can roll that out and move that to where we want to use it, which works out really good too. It's nice to have things that are portable. Right here is our Boss CNC router, and it is the machine to get the things done. Runs on a computer. Actually, this table, the stand here, was the first thing we made when we bought this machine. It was the first thing I programmed in, and with the help of Tony, the owner of Boss, we made this happen here, which is kind of handy to hold a computer. But this machine is a 4x8 table, 3-phase of course. It's a router inside the box housing there that comes down, picks up a tool changer, which having an 8-head tool changer is really nice too. And then the table is vacuumed, so the plywood actually sits on here, and then the table vacuums through this sheet right here to make the parts stick. Does a really good job. And if you look up under here, that right there is the router and the router head. That comes down, picks up tool 1 through 8, and then if you want to sense that tool in the Z-axis, right here is the sensing mechanism to make the tool the correct height so that it doesn't get too deep or not deep enough. And I'll get to show you this more in depth when we get her fired up and running. Right now, the guys just left, so I figure it's a good time to do a quick walkthrough and explanation without any machines running. But here is our plywood stack, and we get our plywood on a truckload, and we get it in 3/4 inch thick, and it's already UV birch with a finish on the one side. So that side goes on the table up, so that's the inside of your cabinet, and that makes for a really quick and easy installation because as the cabinets go together, they're already finished on the inside. So you just put the parts in the slots and nail them together and screw them in. I can show you what some parts look like coming off the machine. We have one job here. So this would be a base side. It's got the slots here for putting the stretchers in. It's got a dado down there for the bottom of the cabinet, and then also we drill 5 shelf pin holes for each shelf, so they're adjustable. And that would be the bottom of the cabinet that goes in the dado. I'll do a video here at some point of cabinet assembly. And then here are a couple, this is the way we do our finished side. So this will be getting painted on the outside here, but we glue the sides to the frame, clamp it, let it sit for at least a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours, and then unclamp it, and then we run a router down this edge right here. Because right now it's got a bit of a step in it, but once we run that router down there, it flushes that up and makes a nice indent detail right here, and it looks really nice. But that's the way. These are some of the angle frames that are getting ready for tomorrow's production. Another basic tool pretty much every shop has is a table saw, but the nice thing about what we have here is we have the SawStop brand table saw. So this table saw here will not cut your fingers, which is amazing. It's got the sensing head that hooks to the blade, so when that blade contacts your skin, it shuts it down immediately, drops the blade down into a chunk of aluminum. And it's actually happened a couple times here where somebody touched it and it dropped down and stopped. Works great. We have this one here for straight line cuts. Then we also have another one right here for doing dados. And a dado is multiple stacked blades in a width to make a slot. So right here we have it set up for a 3/8 wide dado, and that's what we use for our frames to go into our 3/8 dado of the parts. Other than that, we have a couple banding tools. This is where our countertops get put together back here, and we store some sheet goods. But that's pretty much the tour of most of the equipment here, other than these 2 green jobbers here, which are hinging machines. So our doors, once they're dry, which will be tomorrow morning, first thing, we're gonna bring them over here, fire these up, and these are a pneumatic pressure. Hit the button, it presses down these stops right here, 2 stops, presses down, clamps the door down, and then it drills holes, 3 holes that will go down into the door. So once that goes down in there, we put the hinge on there, drop it down in, hit the button, and it clamps and presses this nylon bushings right into the door where it's already drilled. So that's a pretty slick operation right there. That's pretty much the cheap tour of the cabinet shop here. Now that you've seen the showroom, you've seen the shop, that pretty much covers the basics. See you tomorrow morning. I gotta go.